Okay, the dark arts of revision with me, your spiritual guide, Will Williams. Really, 30 years of doing this teaching thing. What I'd like to do with this video is to be able to talk through a few things with you, the student, and also at the end with a couple of words of wisdom for you, the parents, to support the darlings in your life. So, first of all, what is it all about? When you have a session of revision, there is a real important curve you need to know. And this data, if you like, comes from live MRI scans and studies done by neurologists. And they've discovered, quite simply, that the percentage of the stuff you forget actually stays high, i.e. the percentage of stuff you recall stays high as you work, but then gradually and then very rapidly drops off, and for most people down towards the hour. And they've therefore spotted that if you could in fact stop that drop off, then you're going to have a better chance of remembering stuff, i.e. you're going to have a higher percentage of not forgotten, because that's what we do. We're trying to get better at not forgetting stuff. And that's where you get what most people may have already talked to you about, which is the idea of having constant, clear breaks in your revision. There's a lot of very strong evidence that says, look, your brain can be tricked if it's coming up to a deadline to perform better, to recall better on the long term. The key, though, is to make sure you stick to your breaks and don't kid yourself that, oh, I'm going really well. I'm going to do another 5 minutes of these geography case studies. Forget it, because you've gone the downward curve. Discipline, good break. And in the break, of course, do something different. Kick a cat, kick a dog, kick another available, make an animal, make a cup of tea, have a, I don't know, peanut butter sandwich, whatever you do, have a cheeky game of Fortnite. Break it up, and that means you'll come back refocused. Don't spend that time preparing for the next session, because in fact what happens is you don't get that beginning back at the high level. So that's the first and most obvious thing about revision. And there's a summary here of what those points are. Focused revision, pre-plan, intensive, not extensive, a bit like sports training, intense, high quality, not just the badge of honor of spending ages reading a book. No, 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 no. Intensive, not extensive. And then when you come to exam time, you want to try and replicate what your exams are going to be like. So vary your question types, move between different question types. And of course, I have to say that having marked hour-long essays from AQA geography exams, the last part of answers are never as good as the first. So you've got to make sure you can talk and work in intensity. One extra thing is that by reviewing over days within your revision program, and that might be Quizlet, Kahoots, or in the afternoon or in the evening, you review things you've done before, that also embeds the remembering, the percentage of not forgotten. Again, this is evidence that comes from people like this. This is Professor John Dazlowski. And John Dazlowski is, in fact, an expert on cognitive and educational psychology. Good for him. Really interesting. He says that 80% of revision techniques are a waste of time. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do in those time slots, which I think you've understood? Well, the bad, highlighting and just summary notes, reading summary notes. Highlighting, it just means you're just highlighting and painting a book. And equally, if you don't do anything with the summary notes, they're not moving from here, I can read it, here, I'm not embedding it here. So the good thing you need to do is manipulate the information. Mnemonics, visualizing, self-testing, and then spacing and interleaving, which means in those sessions previously, session A in the morning, geography, next section in the morning, maths, next section in the afternoon, physics. Don't pride yourself on doing a whole day of maths, because there's a lot of evidence that you don't benefit from what's called interleaving of different subjects. Active, not passive, therefore. To get it from here into here, so in exams you can bring it back, do something passive. And to coin a pretty decent track, read, create, test, repeat. Read, create, test, repeat. Or as the behavioral psychologist says, students who can test themselves or try to retrieve material are going to learn more. Or as I put it, interleave your subjects. Don't just sit there, I'm going to do 3 hours of geography because that's how long the exam is. Practice your questions in there, not the whole thing. So read, create, test, repeat. Read, create, test, repeat. And be creative with your creations. Mind maps a go-go, notes, videos. Heck, you can do a video. You can teach me whatever you want to teach me. Send me the video. There's a prize on offer. A whole, nothing. Cramming. Of course you're going to cram. Cramming's fine, but all it does is bring stuff that's already stored. Otherwise, you're putting stuff just in here and it goes really quickly and you end up with wilting your exam. Good example. You can all do 2 times 7. You can do 3 times 6. You can't do 43 times 62. because that would be coming from here if you knew it, and you don't. You're trying to figure it out. Cramming only brings stuff back from where already it is. So interleave your subjects. Read, create, test, repeat. Read, create, test, repeat. And how about approaching the exams? Know that you will succeed. Have a positive mindset. This will make you calm and willing for you to just show how smart you are. No panic. Know that you will. You're going to sit these exams. Get to know them. And then you will have no surprises in the exam, and you will have dominion over them. And finally, get some sleep. Sleep reboots the brain and hardwires the knowledge. Otherwise, you've wasted your day trying to get stuff in there. And finally, how can parents help? Parents out there, you just need to support the processes I've just been talking about. You need to stand next to your youngsters and walk next to them, referencing the things that probably work for them. Sending them upstairs to do another 2 hours of French verbs is not going to help them at all. Sending them away to do 45 minutes of something is good advice. And of course, parents make the best peanut butter sandwiches. Remember, it's success that we're looking for, not droids. So make it personal, young Jedi.